This is AM 970 WSTX. AM 970 WSTX.
All right. It's Thursday. Great, fantastic, outstanding, plain, excellent Thursday. Why? Because Thursday lays the foundation for the great Friday we give thanks for. So remember, it starts with Thursday. All right. Hello, Virgin Islands. Hello, Caribbean, down under, up to Canada, United States. Oh, yeah, and the emails keep coming from over there in Denmark and across the Great Divide. So we got a lot of people that are listening and paying attention and giving a little feedback every now and then. So I say thank you to all of you. And we have a very special show for you today. We're going to have some fun. That's an understatement. You know, I always have fun. As soon as I get that perk up with my music, I'm ready to go every time. I'm telling you, I come in here, I haven't had my coffee, all I need is the music, okay? And I'm ready to go like jumping beans all over the place, okay? So if you see me acting kind of strange here, looking like I'm having too much fun, just say that's normal, okay? Anyhow, we have a very special show today. We've got folks here, I have to say it this way, home from vacation and home on staycation. So we have a bunch of young faces here that are here and are visiting from away, Virgin Islanders who have something to share and something to contribute to our community, whether here or far. And I'm so happy to have them all here. Now, I'm going to tell you, we got a whole herd. We would need cowboys to herd them up the road. Okay, you would think it's tramp how much people I got in this studio here today, right? Okay, but it's all good because we're going to have some fun and talk about things that are near and dear and close to our heart. Okay, so what I'd like to do at this point in time, of course you all know me, I'm Doug Canton, the host of the show and all this other good stuff, blah, 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 blah. That's not important this morning. You're important this morning. So I want to start with those who are going to be speaking, and we've got some microphones here. So do me a favor, start introducing yourselves to the public so we can get this show on the road. All right. Don't be shy. You see, this is just like when, you know, I have a little boy, okay? And at home, rambunctious, all kind of noise. But soon as you take him in a strange place, it's like, "What's say hello, no?" Then he gives his first name, and I said, "Well, who you belong to?" Anyhow, relax. You got the mic.
Good morning. My name is Djeneé Dunn.
Well, tell us a little bit about you.
I'm visiting from Tampa right now. I am currently. Do you want us to talk about our?
Well, just a brief. Just
okay.
a brief.
Right now, I'm currently in the process of getting my business license to complete ownership of my own company, providing content for companies and I guess all over.
All right, good.
Good morning, Doug, and good morning to everyone that's listening. Thank you, firstly, for having me on your show. It is an honor to be here this morning.
Honor is mine. The honor is mine.
My name is Shenelle, and my background is in mental health, and right now I'm doing a couple of things. I work for a nonprofit organization. I am the executive assistant to the CEO, and I also work at his private practice mental health clinic where we service youth, and we're also going to start servicing adults who may need therapy and counseling. And I work as a CSI lead admin, and
You're visiting.
I'm visiting.
All right,
from Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. My name is Ashlee Douglas. I'm unfortunately visiting instead of staycationing, I guess. I live in Philadelphia. Currently, I go to Villanova University. I'm a grad student studying communication. And then I guess my side job or my job, I don't really know. I have a lot of jobs right now being a student, but I own my own business called Merch Carnival. specializing in apparel, just celebrating Caribbean culture. So that's keeping me busy, school and doing that. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Te'ron Lindsey. I'm also visiting on the beautiful island of St. Croix from Arizona. I am currently doing a prep post-bac research education program, and my interests are in behavioral neuroscience and cognitive neuroscience, focusing on Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease.
All right. Some heavy stuff going on there. Okay. All right. Well, we got like I said, a whole team of people here, a whole Juve water people. So we'll start off. We'll start off with those who have introduced themselves up to this point, and just continue the conversation, and then later on we'll bring in others as we go. Okay. So now, why did you, let's say, go away to school? And what was your motivation to go away to school? The real motivation back then, not the one that you come to realize since then and still. Why now? But when I'm talking about straight out of high school, what were you thinking?
Honestly, I did not have a choice. My parents wanted me to branch out and to go to another state. They did not want me to stay here on the island. They wanted me to broaden my horizons.
Oh, okay.
I also wanted to. I was growing up. I was very sheltered, closed in. I'm my dad's only child and my mom's last child, so I didn't have much of an experience with anything. So that was definitely going to be a big experience for me, heading out there by myself, doing it on my own.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, you say it in such a sophisticated way. In my case, mommy grabbed me by the ear and said, "You going?" That was it.
Basically.
My parents were ready to take over our bedroom, so they're like, "It's time for you to leave." No, I think I was just ready. I was kind of like on the first plane out. School started for me actually in July. Originally, I was at the Art Institute of Tampa, and then I transferred to University of Tampa, and I was just ready to go. I was ready to experience something new, and I had already lived in the States for a few years with my grandmother when I was 8, but it was a completely different experience because I knew I wasn't on my own. So being able to, I guess, leave and feel like an adult made sense, and I was ready. I was just ready to leave.
All right.
For me, when I was in high school, I actually wanted to be a sound engineer, being like recording music and things like that. So unfortunately, UVI does not have a program in music business or sound engineering. So I definitely had to venture out. But I guess similar to what these young ladies were saying, I just wanted to experience something new, step out on my own, and see what the world had to offer. So I ended up at Drexel University in Philly, and then realized while I was there that I did not want to be a sound engineer stuck in a room. So my ideas of what I wanted to do have definitely evolved since then.
All right.
So ideally, I always had an interest in research, and at that time in St. Croix, research was at a limitation. So I always had a passion for Georgia and Emory University. So I decided that in order to pursue that passion, I would have to move and leave Island. So that was my main reason for leaving.
All right. Well, there's a St. Croix you left then, and there's the St. Croix we have now. So talk to me. Your travels, your experience, your education. How do you see yourself in the context of this St. Croix and impacting what's going on here now? Okay, and I'm throwing that out and give you a couple seconds to kind of like mouthwash. You put it in, you roll it around a little bit till you get the right feeling, then it all comes out. Okay, so just take a minute and take that in and think about it. And I'm going to just make a couple of comments, because when everything that every one of you are doing in terms of the global community and what's going on in the world is important and can impact these Virgin Islands in some way, form, or fashion in the future. Mental health is an issue. If you follow the Virgin Islands, mental health is an issue. Communications, maybe we'll have you do some training for some of our public officials to better communicate with their public. But, when you said Parkinson's, we have incidences of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's here in the Virgin Islands. And years ago, it was looked at differently and not diagnosed per se. And now we know what it is. I've had personally to live with it in my family, in particular, Parkinson's and what's involved. So when you tell me about research and stuff like that, I say, you go, boy, because that's what we need, whether it's Parkinson's or cancer or Alzheimer's. We need all the research we can do to make sure we can get to that cure, that way of dealing with it in the future. So having used him to give you all a break, now let me start from over here. Let's talk about this St. Croix you left, the St. Croix you came back to, and the future.
Okay. The St. Croix that I left, definitely different from the St. Croix that I am seeing now. But then again, I didn't get to see much of my St. Croix because my parents were so overprotective of me. Exactly what is it do you want?
Well, no, that's fine. That's fine. If that's how it is, then, it's not like you have to have an answer or an explanation. Just, if that's how it was in your sheltered case, I mean, I wish I could say I was sheltered, but us teenagers, we tend to sometimes improvise, and like one Christmas time they come home, oh, Doug and they're still sleeping. Oh, what's Doug coming down the hill? Okay, Doug's bed was all stuffed and Doug was and okay. So I'm just saying that's the St. Croix I left and whatever. So it's your experience in that sense. So from a sheltered perspective, I understand what you're saying.
Right. I mean, but now it's more like, now that I do want to go out and be out in my island, my parents, they tell me a lot, every time, be careful, don't go this place, or make sure you come home at a certain time, because you don't know what's going on out there. There's so much going on out there. Our youth are just going haywire right now. And I'm like, I can't understand why, because we're so small. Everybody knows each other. Why wouldn't you guys want to stay unified? Why would there be so much trouble?
Okay, well, we're going to come back to that because, this...
Am I going ahead? Am I stepping ahead?
No. I'm just saying we're going to come back to that because that's an important theme that we have to address along the way, because... We have to not just look at it as a problem, but if we can see, well, what was the cause and what we can do to change that. Okay, it's done. What's by the way, are you related to the songbird of the airwaves?
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah, that's my mom.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't ever really remember going out, in high school. And then, of course, because when I left, I was still 17, so there wasn't really a lot for me to do here anyway, I guess. I remember my sister going out, and I just never felt like I needed to. Okay. So coming back now and like Te'ron kind of begging me to go out with them and hang out, I'm just kind of, because my first inclination, like even before I came, I was like, oh God, like I don't want to get hurt while I'm home. And speaking to my mother, she was like, that's the wrong mindset to have. You need to come home, you need to just go out, you need to experience, something that you weren't able to experience before. This is, you're with a new age group now, you're with a new environment now. You need to be able to go out and experience that. And, you could get hurt anywhere. It doesn't have to be here. You could get hurt, in Tampa where you are. You could get driving down the road. So I'm a little bit more comfortable now being out, and I can tell that the economy is definitely not where I thought it was before I left. And of course I didn't have bills or anything then, and growing older and hear my parents talk about bills and what things are costing now, like $8 for orange juice. I'm just like, wow, like it's a completely mindset, because now I understand, because I have to buy my own orange juice now, right? So I understand the whole frustration, I think, with the economy, and I guess I can understand why there's violence, not condoning it, but why it might exist, just because of the type of economy that's going on, and I think you just when you're close to a lot of people all the time, you get a lot of frustration, and I think that's where a lot of it might stem from, when you don't feel like there's another opportunity for you to do something better.
All right.
St. Croix, before I left, definitely St. Croix has always had a special place in my heart. It's home. And I guess before I went to college, you could say that I was seeing everything with like rose-tinted glasses, you know? Like, I just thought St. Croix was like the most awesome place in the world. Like, why would I want to go anywhere else? Like, why wouldn't people want to live here? And this, with my experiences, I live in Philly, which has its own problems. I worked in a K through 8 school last year in the after-school program, and it gave me more sense of like what the people of Philadelphia, especially like their lower income families, what their struggles were. So that kind of opened my eyes to the community there and relating it to the community in St. Croix at home. And I think now I have a greater appreciation for home, and it makes me want to do my part to, you know, help make things better with the skills that I have. And I just see it has a lot of potential, and I always hope that people could see the potential in themselves to improve themselves, rather than using it in a negative energy, in a positive energy. And I see so many people, like especially the people here that are being interviewed, and my friends, they're doing so many positive things off island and on island, and I wish that was more focused on than the negative that we hear a lot, and that I hope that positivity will help move us forward in a better step. But I see potential, and I cross my fingers all the time.
All right. Yeah. Well, you know, two things you touch on. One, everywhere's got problems.
Yeah.
You know, so many people,
Definitely.
like, they running away, like somehow it's better, it's nirvana over there.
Yeah.
Every place got problems.
Yeah.
And in terms of the negative versus the positive, that was part of my motivation for doing this show, to focus on organizations and people that are doing positive things in the community. Because I think to a certain extent, changing the mindset means that people have to appreciate all the good that is here and is going on here. But if everything bad that happens gets the headlines and lasts for 6 weeks or 6 months and everybody talking about it, and the good things never come out, then you can't help but to stay in a negative mindset. Okay.
So essentially, Doug, I know you said home is where the heart is. So I think the main thing when I left in terms of when I came back is guidance. When I was growing up, my mom and my grandmother made sure as soon as I got home there was no TV, just straight to the books. And I'm sure it was similar to people in here, people that I know. And then now I see it's more of, it's being left up to kids to pursue their own success. And as a child, you're still in that stage of being developed, and you need a positive role model to develop you. Because when I go out, I see these kids, and I think it was Sunday night, and it was still school, and kids were out, more younger kids than older kids. So I realized that there's not enough guidance being done. So that's on the con aspect. But for my home, I think one thing that I love, when I came, I realized there's a lot more artwork being done on the island. I realized back in Frederickstead, there's I don't want to say graffiti, but it's artwork on the ground.
Yeah.
And then there's at Scion Farm, there's a depiction. I was driving here this morning.
Fantastic.
So I realized there are a lot of talented artists in the VIS to propose to other things, and that's one of the things that I love. And the other con to it is, I think the mental health issue is a big problem. When I left, there were not many people, being diagnosed correctly, and it was assumed that you're just getting old, but they were just showing symptoms of things that is not normal for an older person. I mean, yeah, you use neurons. I don't want to go too much in depth about it, but I think that right now there's definitely the main issue is mental health, because a lot of individuals suffering from it. That person that you see homeless on the street doesn't mean that they're everything is functioning correctly. They may have an issue and they don't have the adequate professionals to help them, or they just don't know what's going on, so just misdiagnosing them. So ideally, I just think that my main duty as a Crujan, I should say, is to go away, learn from the best, learn the trade, come back and benefit those people in my home that need the assistance that they been needing since I left the island. Okay. So that's essentially what I realized.
Well, that's fantastic, because one of the things you're going to run into is what I call lack of vision. Okay? And it started also with the stereotype and stigma where folks were kept in the home because of a condition, or you see them walking down the street and people make fun of them, laugh at them, that type of stuff going on. But nothing was being done toward having an adequate facility to say that if you're going to treat people, that you have a facility to do it. And then people just send it to the hospital. They don't understand that all the hospital could do is do a 72-hour hold, and then they have to release you. And this is one of the frustrations in the community, because if it's up to some people, the police will come and just take them all off the street. Whoever is deemed to be mental health, just take them off the street. Well, we live in America. There's a constitution. It's civil rights. You can't do that. So it comes back to what was our responsibility in the beginning. And so one of the keys there is to get towards infrastructure. So you may have the skills. You may have the skills, but I'm just telling you, one of the challenges that we're going to have to look to is infrastructure. And I say that, that right now we have a lot of discussion about the sale of Hovenza and how the monies are going to be used and so forth and so on. Well, I can tell you, based on my observation of the legislature over the years, they're seeing dollar signs and already figuring out how to spend the money for all the commitments that they made already, but they're not dealing with the old bills. Right. You could get away with not paying that car note, but for so long, and then the car gone. You can get away with not paying the house note for so long, and then the house is gone. And that's in essence what's been happening over the years, is that they're always ready to buy something new and to move on to something new, but not taking care of what they have and not planning for infrastructure development and so forth and so on. So I'm saying this not as a criticism, but part of what you need to recognize in your challenge when you come to take it on. Because it's also the case where, less so now, where you have a lot of legacy people in leadership who, in terms of technology and creative thinking, it's like, they come home, you're supposed to sit down, shut up, and don't move till I tell you to. Well, that don't work anymore. It never worked. That's the problem. It never worked. Okay, so I'm really, really excited with what I hear from all of you, and the passion in your statements in terms of what you see of St. Croix, the little bit that you saw, those who weren't there stuffing the bed and running out like I did. I did that one time. But it's just one of those things where you go through the changes. Now, we talked about mental health, we talked about the economy, we talked about basically public safety and violence in the community. Okay, now, there's certain things, and I'm going to share something with you about 25 years ago. I don't want to date myself here. AT&T.
That's how old we are.
AT&T wanted to come into the Virgin Islands, and they wanted to dig this big pipe on the west end that would bring internet here. Okay. And I approached one of the legislators when we were having the hearing, and I said, what we need to do is have AT&T, as part of their commitment to our community for what they're doing, connect all our schools to the internet. All right? Well, the other senators, the business people that came up to speak, all of them, their response was, that is business unfriendly. Where are we today? The internet is everything. We've got this pipe, we've got all this capability, and we're just starting to figure out 20, 25 years later how to use it. Okay? And I say this because your next challenge might be that your boss may be a legacy thinker. The person who you're applying to for that contract or dealing with that when they put out a request for bids or whatever, the person evaluating it might be someone from 20, 25 years ago mentally. So your challenge is going to be, how do you persuade them to trust you and your company and your innovative ways of doing things to do something different? Okay? Because different and change related, and in the little history I know, fiercely resisted in this place. Okay. Anyhow, you're free to comment on what I said.
I'll go. That's actually one of a part of my business plan is to create this system where I can go into companies and help build their entire brand, the entire look of their company. So from content to customer service to what's being put out on social media to how the company operates. Going from paper to digital, pretty much. And so what I want to be able to do is create this program where I can go into the various companies in the Virgin Islands and all over and help to rebrand the company to where they're more productive. And it has a lot to do with, like you said, changing the perception of thought with the higher ups and getting them to trust that this is okay. It's okay to be on social media if you're doing it the right way. It's okay to have a website that's not just same template all the time. It's okay to have people who are doing more creative things within your company. It's okay to do that, and it helps build your company's culture. So that's the people who are working for you, and then it helps your customers trust that you're keeping up with what they want and with what they need.
Fantastic. And let me throw out to you an offshoot of that. Who's an IT guy? Do we have an IT person in here? Yeah. All right. Well, one of the things, for instance, that this government does is they buy a lot of computers. And what computers they buy may vary from division to division, or what commissioners say they want this big one on their desk, because once upon a time, size was everything. Just like the American car, the bigger it was, the better it was. Well, we know that's not the case. All right. And in fact, one of the things that we could have done was contracted with a company to provide our computers on a contract where their receipts diminish based on downtime. So they have an incentive for the computers to stay up. Well, you practically eliminate the problem of not having working computers. We got a caller here. Let me just take a quick check here. Good morning, WSTX and the future of St. Croix in the studio. How may I help?
Good morning. Is this on the air?
Yes, ma'am. You wanted to be off the air?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. No problem. Hold on. Okay. Do me a favor. One of you just let the tech guy know that we've got somebody. Okay. Looks like he's got it. Okay. Good. So you use economies of scale and economic incentive to have a smooth running government as far as computers are concerned. Mm-hmm. Now, another idea, for instance, and this is where, because you're basically selling them ideas.
You're right.
New ideas, different ideas. Change.
You're right.
The bad word, change.
Yes.
Okay? Right now, you go to do your business license here, and they can take care of your certain parts, like they interact with fire, they interact with IRB, they interact with other agencies, so that all of a sudden you can interface through one place. Well, let's take it another step. If every agency in the Virgin Islands had a special code and subcodes and sub-subcodes, so any fee that they have to pay, they could go to any cashier. You could go to any cashier with the appropriate slip that has on the code, the subcode, the sub-subcode, so that you could pay that bill at any cashier anywhere on the island. We would eliminate the need to make a pilgrimage to a particular place.
Right.
All right? And in the process, the government gets the money in quicker. Just makes sense. But it's change.
Nobody likes change.
All right. Well, that's it. But that's what you have to be. Change agents. Change agents. And I don't mean the ultimate one. I don't know if you heard when Steve Jobs talked at that graduation, and he talked about the ultimate change agent. We're not talking about that one. Before we get to that one. Okay? But
if I can
Steve
chime
Jobs,
in.
yeah.
If I can chime in real
most
quick,
definitely.
because I agree with Djeneé on and you with change. Like my dad he is a business owner, and I tell him all the time that you should get, tech savvy, and he just thinks that the internet is the devil. And I'm telling him, I mean everybody already knows you and knows how great a job you do at building houses, but you know how much more recognition you can get, how much more you can be seen if you have your own website, if people can learn more about you. And he's like, no, I have a better way of doing it, and it does not involve the internet. And I'm like, okay, but I'm going to show you something different. Like with the company that I work with, the organization that I work with, we have something that we're getting into called DigiServe. Mm-hmm. And that's for mentors and counselors who may be away probably on a trip, but still need to see their mentees or still need to see their patients. Well, they can go online and they can have a video session with their clients, and they don't even have to be there face to face. That's what change does.
Well, change, fiercely resisted. When I used to be a computer consultant / computers are kind of my thing, okay? And I could tell you that a lot of folks I used to talk to, they say, you think everybody got a computer in their house? No, everybody walking around with a computer in their hand.
Exactly.
Okay? And it's change. It's change. So now you have to be the change agent to kind of get these folks to try a thing. And sometimes you have to show them proof of process for them to buy into it. But what that does is it places a burden on you, maybe in terms of the economics, the work that may or may not be accepted. Then you're out of money, out of time, whatever the case may be. But you have to do it as a matter of commitment. And coming back to what you were saying, it's simple things sometimes. I came home one evening with a car full of groceries. Got them inside, refrigerator ain't working. Okay? The person in my family that we always call the go-to. Okay, everybody, you get you somebody and you call them because that's a reliable person. Well, that person had passed away. And we never had a need since then, so we didn't have somebody to call. So here I was, all this stuff need to go in the freezer and in the fridge. All right? And I'm there, I go to the yellow pages, and I'm looking, ain't nothing there to be found. All right? So there's a website now where all of these type of business can post their stuff for free, their contact information in the category. And let me just share you my experience. I go to some of these places and I say, you can list your company here. And when I say a listing, if you go in the yellow pages, it's just one line and you're paying big bucks. The listing, name of the company, contact person's phone numbers, internet, Facebook, whatever, all of that is in there for free. If they want to do pictorial stuff, they pay for that. But they watch you and they say, what do you mean by free? Ain't nothing free. I kid you not. So I can relate to what you're saying. I can relate to what you're saying. And I'm saying that not to criticize, but to emphasize the challenge that we face.
And it makes everything so much easier because, he has to write up proposals and everything. If you had an email, you wouldn't have, if you just had an email, you could just converse with people so much easier than having to meet with them and then canceling your meetings and all of that stuff because you don't want to evolve.
Okay. Yeah,
I think sorry, go ahead. I think a lot of business owners as well are scared of the quote unquote paperwork. And I think that's why a lot, because they're thinking, well, if it's digital, I gotta do this, I gotta figure this out, I gotta type this up, and that's not entirely true. I've created digital forms and things for companies, and it's simple as just clicking here, drop down menu, send. It can be very simple, and it doesn't have to be complicated. It takes away the shredding and just having document and file on top of file on top of file.
I relate. I work for a company. I'm not gonna call the name to protect the innocent, but they had a room about twice this size full of file cabinets. And I brought the equipment and showed that said, hey, every week if we scan a file a day, over a year, that's 365, possibly, let's say if you did one for every day of the year, files that now are in a cabinet that's taking up space. So in the course of a year, 2 years, these file cabinets will be gone. This is someplace either for other equipment, for other offices, or whatever, so forth and so on.
Which helps a lot with your data analytics and learning what you have, what you don't have, what you're missing, how old this file is. And I actually worked for an IT company in Sarasota as their HR director, and it was a small company, so I ended up learning a lot about data analysis and how business operating systems work as far as the internal computer systems. And one of the things I learned was exactly that, like just putting all this information up and bringing it down to one dashboard where you can see everything that's going on in your business on one page. And it's amazing. And I don't understand. I mean, I guess I don't understand why somebody wouldn't want to just see, hop on their phone and be like, oh yeah, okay, I made this. Oh, we need to get this back, or, we need to catch up with this person. I don't understand.
Well, sometimes folks are making so much money that they just don't care. Okay?
Yeah.
Every month, the first of the month, you go in the shopping center, and if you don't know this, please, okay, don't go to the store New Year's, okay? Because we have all this federal money basically going through them for, in this case, we used to call it food stamps, I forget the SNAP now, whatever the case may be. Right? Well, that's business. That's a business transaction being done, okay? That's fine. But we have a situation where that same company, by setting up the appropriate portal, could have someone go in and place their order for what they want to pick up, do a credit card transaction, and a couple of employees package everything. They drive up, put it in, whatever, money in the bank, right? But maybe they're making so much money that they're saying, hey, I don't want to bother. All right? So that's another part that you run into. Anyone here dabbled any in solar or alternative energy? Okay, well, there's a certain agency, again, I'm not going to call the name to protect the innocent, okay, that a company, a reputable company in the Virgin Islands offered for let's say $80,000 right now, to change their WAPA bill from being about $300,000 a month down to about 110, 120. Okay? But because that agency was not paying their bill, the official at that time says, what the bleep should we be spending $80,000 when we getting it for free? There's no such thing as free. Somebody's paying for it. And to the extent that you and I have electricity, we're subsidizing the behavior of that agency. So again, the mentality. All right, folks, don't stop me on the street and ask me who it is. I'm not going to tell. Okay, I'm not going to tell.
So I think fear of change is a humanistic trait that we all share, and the key to that is making people comfortable. And I'm going to segue back into what we were talking about earlier. The reason why businesses don't succeed is because people try to think they can do it by themselves. The key to a business is having experts in all areas working with you to pursue a common goal. So if I want to start a business company, I'm going to find a marketer, I'm going to find an IT person of different areas because I know I can't do it. So it's also accepting humility and understanding that you can't do it on your own because you're an expert in a certain area or a certain path. So that's the reason why a lot of things don't, aim to please, is because people don't understand that concept.
Now, how do you get them to understand? And this is what I'll throw out to you, okay? And I'm saying this, I had the opportunity to have some senior citizens come and learn how to use the computer. They came in afraid to touch the thing. They left squabbling about whose turn it would be and how long and who always hogging the computer. All right? But what it takes is that skill where you basically break it down. Now, assuming they're receptive in their minds now, because when you get to government and agencies and power, I am in charge. Who you be? This little 22, 26-year-old coming telling me what I should be doing, and you didn't even talk to them like you were telling them what they should be doing. You're showing them opportunities, all right? And so again, the humanistic is a big part of it. So now you can show them how they can automate all of this stuff, just like I talk about paying the bills. It'd be nice if you live in Frederickstead and you had to pay something to consumers to just go to the cashier right down there by property tax and hand them a bill.
QR code.
Boom! You don't have to drive all the way to Christianstead.
Right.
I mean, even like my bank app, my credit card, everything I own has an app where I can just log in, pay my bill, and that's it. I can even deposit my checks from my phone. I don't have to go to the bank. So the technology is there.
Well,
it's not like it doesn't exist.
I am so glad that you said that. I am so glad that you say that, because raising communities' expectations is part of your challenge. When you get them to the point that they want more,
right,
then the people who have the power to make more happen will rise to the occasion, because they are looking to those people to be where they are. Meaning the politicians, so forth and so on. Okay? So raising expectations. And you mentioned the app. The now ubiquitous app. We went from the big computer that only a few people have in their house, according to everybody, to the phone that everybody have in their hand, to the app for every place in the world.
Yes.
All right? Now, I want you to travel with me back in time, forward in time. I'm not sure which way we're going. But we got banks that can tell you down to the penny what money they have from here to Canada, down to Australia, and over to the Netherlands. All right? So tell me, why do we have a government where we always have this question mark of how much money there is? Because they like it so. So again, it's about how do we change expectations, and that's your challenge. Changing the expectations of the community, and I say that the community is your biggest ally. Okay? Don't give them up to the politicians. So when you are working on a special research project that affects Parkinson's SAM, okay? When you come home next Christmas, let's have a little seminar to enlighten the public so more people can know. And we videotape it, put it on YouTube, and so forth and so on. And all of a sudden now you have somebody, I know, somebody who went away and got this knowledge, and they're sharing this knowledge. It ain't cost nothing, figuratively speaking. We'll get some sponsors, so we will make sure you don't walk out broke. Okay? But I'm just saying that that's a different kind of approach that you have to take to raise public consciousness. Because the public, once they're on your side, everything else will kind of fall in line. And that's your way of dealing with intransigent, for lack of a better word, intransigent public officials and private sector officials. Because you know what? Your dad gonna go where the money is.
Definitely.
And if you show him, you grossing $100,000 a year, we can gross $250,000 a year if you change these minor things that actually cause less energy and give you more time at home with mom.
Absolutely.
Okay? But the more you keep repeating it, the more you, I kind of getting up there. Maybe I need to stop. So you have to use these different psychological approaches to these things. Okay?
Does the Virgin Islands have a Chamber of Commerce?
They sure do.
So that's a surefire way to help companies build their brand and build awareness. And I know, in Tampa, I was very, very involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and they had seminars and, all kinds of events to bring business owners together. So one, now you're communicating with other business owners in your area. You know who does what. You know who you can contact with if you have an issue. Like Te'ron said, you have that. If you're starting business, you have the IT person, you have the marketing person. Now you're meeting with all these people who are either, some are doing the same thing as you, or some have, you know, specialties in other professions, and the chamber offers these workshops and opportunities, and you're right, and that's very important.
Okay.
And that's in fact how I got one of my jobs.
I hope that some of our folks from the chamber are listening. This is not a criticism. This is not saying you're not doing this right or wrong. It's just your young people come back and they have ideas. So chamber, please listen. Okay. So now the world has changed. Let's talk Chamber of Commerce. The world has changed. In the past, the Chamber of Commerce was this place where everybody went and met, so to speak, in terms of businesses. The idea was that you come to the chamber, but the world has changed.
Right.
And I think that one of the biggest challenges for the chamber right now is how do you reach out to other members of the community that are in business and aren't a member of the chamber? How do you create networking situations where a person who is skeptical about being a member and any potential benefits to their business can in fact see something different? The fact of the matter is you can't sit there in your office and just deal with the few who come in the door.
Right.
You now have to go out and actively not only recruit but invite in, so that you have to create a mechanism where this mixing is going to cause growth.
Right.
And that's the key. I didn't come up with this, but it's basically true as far as I'm concerned. You either plan to grow or you die. And so when you see an organization that seems to be wilting in the community, look for the lack of a plan for growth. All right, and I'm saying that to you. Maybe you've had that come across you in your training up to this point. But growth is essential. And think about it. It's almost like nature. You know, you start out from a baby, you grow, you go to school, you get education. What happens if you don't get the right education? What happens if you don't get education? You get stunted. And in terms of your opportunities, you are at a point where you just basically have stopped. You know, so it's not literal death as much as it is in the context of growth we're talking about. You have to plan to grow. All right. Now, I can see you one of these days in charge of NIH. You know, I can see that one of these days you're going to own and direct CNN, and one of these days you're going to be the new CEO first on the Virgin Islands of IBM, okay, and you're going to be running National Institute of Health, okay, and I say it that way because it's possible. It's possible. You just never know. Now, there's a very good word that you all, I'm sure, know about it. It's called networking.
Love that word.
Networking.
It's my favorite word.
Favorite word.
Okay? Don't, you know, one of the things I'm sure in the Virgin Islands, when you went out with your family any place and you come to a stranger, what you have to say?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And
Good
what
morning.
else?
Good
morning. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Whatever. All of those things, right? Well, when you go to your networking experience, you let your crucian come out.
Yeah.
Okay? And you let your crucian in terms of where you from come out, because it's a natural attraction.
Yes, it is.
People want to know more about you.
Definitely
And it
is.
opens up doors for you. It have you experienced this?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Any examples?
I think Shenelle has.
I've got a million examples.
Okay.
I mean, everywhere I go, even in the business that I'm working in now, they love my accent. They want to hear me talk all the time. And a plus is I'm mixed. I'm half Puerto Rican, so I speak Spanish too. And that brings opportunity to me as well. Because before I was working for this company, I was working at a law firm. And to every Spanish person, every Spanish client that they had, I had to speak to them. I had to translate. So it brings about opportunities. And they love, they just, in America, it may not seem like it right now, being that we have Trump running for president, but they love.
Okay, no politics. Let me take a hit. No politics.
They love.
I'm just kidding.
They love the diversion, the diversity. They love it.
Okay.
And they want it in their companies.
Well, there's a young lady I was talking to about school and what she's going to study and so forth and so on. Okay, and I told her, so, you know, go and learn how to speak Chinese. You know, Spanish is everywhere, French is everywhere. Go learn how to speak Chinese. Be that different person. Because our companies have to do business with China to grow.
Definitely.
And if you can speak Chinese fluently, grammatically correct, understand the culture so that you are politically, culturally correct in dealing with them, you've opened doors just by doing something different. I remember one time there was an event, and so we had all these different people who were cooking food. And my philosophy was, so who writes better than who white rice? White rice is white rice, basically, right? So I got a group of young people together, and we got some digital cameras, and we went around taking pictures, and we had inkjet printer, and we print them out. Well, we made a lot of money because we did something different and saw the different opportunity. So in that context, I was trying to explain to that young person that being different is a great advantage if you leverage it. In this case, looking down toward the future. Now, I'm not going to ask for a show of hands here, but if you don't own stock in a growing company, I highly recommend that you do. Okay? One of the things that, did you have any class in money management or investment or land value or anything in high school?
No.
Okay.
We were actually talking about that on the way over here.
But you did learn how to dance.
Yep.
Yeah.
You learn how to cook. You learn how to eat all the wrong things even. Okay? And I'm saying this to you as a challenge for you, not just individually, but to your children. You've got to instill these things in it. My little boy want to get in the shower and he want to turn on the water, and we come back 15 minutes later and I said, that's the money for your bicycle. That's not, but you said enough. Yeah, you bug them, right? You bug them, but it starts to sink in. And like now you talked about bills. You heard about them, but now you know what they are.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
All right.
Worst part of being a grown-up.
All right. Well, I know. We kind of at the halfway point here, and we got at least 5 other people here that I want to bring up to the mic. But before you run away from the mic, is there any short tidbit you want to share with us before you run away and become the audience? Go ahead.
Well, I have to run out soon, but touching upon these ideas of collaboration and coming together as a community, I'm hosting a pop-up shop in town. We're hosting several local brands. So, for the holidays, not all companies have their own brick and mortar space.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yeah,
last
yeah,
night.
yeah.
And I'm saying wow, but where is this? What is this? Because usually part of my show is I talk about what's going on here. So definitely go ahead.
So this is the second year that we're doing it. There's 6 brands that are participating. There's 300 MF. She's doing handmade bags, art, and jewelry. There's My VITs. I don't know if you've ever seen the t-shirt. She just started again, but she had a shirt that I need to see if she still has. It says yeah, my son, and it says St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands on the shirt. So she has her apparel, Passport Caribbean apparel. He's from here, but he lives in Atlanta currently. He's also participating. There's Cultured Natural. She does body and hair care products. I'm participating with Merch Carnival, selling my apparel. We have Caribbean Girls Rock, and we also have Dimes and Nickels apparel from St. Thomas that has products.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, what I want you to do is when you go to YouTube, or tell them when you go to YouTube, do a search for Douglas Canton. And in there, you're going to see a video, Art and the Artist. Okay? And we did it here in the studio also. But basically, what I'm doing is I'm interviewing artists. It's more of a conversation, not interviews, where they get a chance to talk about what they know and so forth and so on. And definitely I'd like them to touch bases with me, because if they're here or they're going to come back or whatever, they could be a featured artist in terms of you're talking about the handbags or whatever. Now, art is not limited to painting. It can there's a lot of different things when you say art. Okay. In this case, I seem to have the art of too much talking, so I'm going to be quiet. All right. So, anybody else?
I do. The name of the organization that I am working with now is called the Showcase Group, and we are in the process of opening our first group home, which is going to house about 10 homeless young men. If you guys could please follow us on Facebook to learn more about our organization and what we do as Showcase Group. And if you can, we would appreciate any little bit helps. We need as much help as we can trying to get this group home open March of 2016. If you can go to gofundme.com/Showcase Group Home, we would greatly appreciate it.
All right, fantastic. Mr. Scientist and Research, okay.
Oh, no.
I guess I'll go. First, I'll testimonial to Ashlee's pop-up shop. Shenelle and I were in there yesterday and spent entirely too much money.
We did.
We went in for like 2 mugs and we left with like sweatshirts and t-shirts. Anyway, they're really nice, and it is a way to express your culture when you're not on island.
Definitely.
Where are they located again?
They're in the, was it Weiser?
Across from Rhythms.
Wiesner building across from Rhythms in Christiansted Town.
Okay, I'm gonna find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. They have a sign. It's the pink building.
Okay.
They have a sign up and everything. As far as advice, I think one is definitely learning about responsibility, and it kind of goes back to the fact that, you know, we didn't have some of these resources available to us when we were in high school as far as learning about, you know, taxes and, you know, things like that. The good thing now is that all those things can be found online. You can research, you can look at, you know, online podcasts and courses and stuff and kind of learn about these things. I think another thing is if you do go to college, or, you know, especially if you leave, getting involved somehow, some way. For me, it was my internship, and I was the first intern in the company, and I was the first employee. He offered me a job as soon as I graduated. So having that experience, one, on your resume shows that you've been doing something productive outside of the classroom, and two, it allows you to network and you know, meet these different people. I've met the mayor who can actually say my name, the mayor of Tampa who actually knows how to say my name. I've met the governor of Florida. I've met all these top CEOs who are making billions and billions of dollars and offering, you know, specifically African Americans jobs. And I think it's amazing that, you know, you had this opportunity to come out and do something on top of what you're learning in the classroom. So yeah, I think that's for me. And again, thank you guys for listening.
Okay. So to the young people of the Virgin Islands is my main audience. I just want to say, just enjoy the path. Sometimes we get so caught up in schoolwork and thinking about all the things we need to get done, the studying, all the homework, and we forget about the path that we want to take. So I would say enjoy the path, and instead of just thinking about the destination. Another thing I want to do is just focus on your life. Sometimes we compare ourselves to others way too much. We look at what they're wearing, what they're driving, but sometimes focus on yourself. Develop yourself and understand what you need to get done. And lastly, I want to provide my email, my contact information for all those who are interested in any forms of research or dementia. It's TERONL2009@gmail.com. I'll say that one more time. T as in Tango, E as in Echo, R as in Romeo, O as in Oscar, N as in November, L as in Lima @gmail.com. Thanks for having us, Doug.
All right. Well, that's going to be on the YouTube section. Okay.